Tonight on TV 11, watch as Cyndi Lauper is the victim on TV's bloopers and practical jokes. Then stay tuned for the Monday night movie Summer Fantasies, starring Bruce Springsteen's new bride, Julianne Phillips, coming your way on TV 11.
I'm Paul Majors.
And I'm Kirsten Lindquist. Coming up on News 11 at 5, a reprieve for Klaus von Bülow. And a Medicare move that could be bad news for hospitals.
Also tonight, kudos for St. Paul and the folks who live there. And News 11 wants to know how safe are Buffalo Railroad crossings. We'll find out.
And we'll visit a unique and famous wilderness area in our own backyard. News 11 at 5 is next.
Friends, our June selling spree is here, right here at Viking Chevrolet in Fridley. 285 cars and trucks, new and used, must be sold in the month of June. That's right, friends. How about this car? Here's a brand new 1985 Chevrolet Chevette. Look at the financing. $49 down, $129 a month, or $5,588. Look at this car. Oh, friends, you're going to love this beauty. Brand new 1985 Chevrolet Celebrity, $8,188, or $49 down, $189 a month. We'll see ya here.
You know, Annie, when I was your age, I used to live on A&W root beer floats.
You did?
Oh, yeah, but I don't know what was more fun, making them or drinking them.
Looks like making them.
The A&W root beer float. Vanilla ice cream and that frosty mug sensation. Rich, creamy A&W root beer.
I'm just checking to make sure the straw works.
Give me a break.
The A&W root beer float. It's a taste you never outgrow.
We're a small town, homegrown, made the way you make your own pizza. Tombstone, we're a ladled on and loaded up with lots of mozzarella on the pizza. Tombstone,
we pile on the goodness, we're loaded with real cheese.
We're sure the taste of Tombstone's gonna please, or to please your families. We're a small town, homegrown, made the way you make your own pizza. Tombstone, made the way you make your very own. Tombstone.
Storm. Snake.
Nope, broken power line.
Ooh, stay away.
News 11 at 6 tonight.
Now, from the action center of the Twin Cities, News 11 with Paul Majors, Kirsten Lindquist, Jeff Passolt on sports, and meteorologist Paul Douglas.
Good afternoon. The case against Klaus von Bülow is over.
Today, a jury found von Bülow innocent of twice trying to murder his wife.
The charge the defendant committed on December 21st, 1980, the crime of assault and attempted murder. How do you find, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty. Cheers went up in the courtroom when the verdict was announced. The jury said the prosecution did not have enough evidence to convict von Bülow of trying to kill his socialite wife with insulin injections. The prosecution said only that they were very disappointed.
Another American is in the hands of Mideast terrorists this afternoon. Thomas Sutherland, the acting dean of agriculture at the American University in Beirut, was kidnapped by gunmen on a main highway near that city. The gunmen have not been identified.
Our federal government has identified its target, rising medical costs, and the prescription from the Department of Health and Human Services is freezing what hospitals are paid to care for Medicare patients. And that could mean an 8% reduction in hospital revenues from the feds. Susan Wiese reports.
Fewer Medicare patients are being admitted to the hospitals these days, and if they do check in, the patient could wind up fully recovering at home because hospital stays are as short as safely possible.
We have to be more efficient internally to get everything done for the patient that has to be done before we can comfortably send that patient home.
Administrators are grappling with changes in the way hospitals are reimbursed by the government to treat Medicare patients. Rather than picking up the entire tab, the government is paying only a predetermined fixed portion of the bill. Now there's talk of freezing those fixed rates, a move that will significantly affect every hospital and could be financially devastating for some. As it stands right now, for every dollar Twin Cities hospitals spend on treating people 65 and older, the hospital only gets reimbursed 85 cents on the dollar. Hospitals absorb some of the shortfall. The rest of the cost is shifted to non-Medicare patients who wind up, on the average, with nearly $447 tacked onto their medical bills. Cost shifting and internal belt tightening by hospitals are two trends that are likely to continue with or without any change in the way hospitals are reimbursed for treating Medicare patients. Both trends are likely to continue if the Medicare program is going to remain solvent. Right now, it could go bankrupt if nothing is done as early as 1990. Susan Wiese, News 11.
And that freeze is set to take effect in 30 days. Kirsten?
The rubble left by a weekend storm in north-central Wisconsin remains scattered across the ground this afternoon. In the city of Park Falls, numerous homes are just heaps of timber and glass, and some businesses couldn't open today because of tornado damage. Today, Wisconsin Governor Anthony Early toured the ravaged area where 3 people died. On News 11 at 6, Bernie Grace takes us to Park Falls to meet the people who lived through it all. A family in Arden Hills is trying to recover from a devastating morning fire. By the time firefighters arrived at the mobile home on Banyan, it was too late to save it. All the couple could do was stand by and watch their home burn. Arson is suspected.
2,000 people in Arkansas had to flee their homes today. A burning derailed train exploded and shot a fireball 11,000 feet in the air. Right now, firefighters are still being held at bay by the flames. Unknown chemicals are on fire, and that has authorities concerned.
The situation at the state capitol continues to be cool this afternoon. Lawmakers are making a little progress on work that must be done before a special session is called. Jeanette Harrison is with us now live from the Capitol with an update. Jeanette?
Kirsten, these empty seats behind me in the House gallery illustrate the problem that we are facing this year. Although lawmakers are creeping closer to completing their work for this year, they haven't reached the finish line yet. And there are still enough unresolved problems to prohibit calling lawmakers back to this gallery for a special session in which they could put the final stamp of approval to this year's bills. Here is a brief rundown of bills still under consideration. There has been a basic agreement on this year's welfare bill, but final wording on that bill has not yet been drafted. There has also reportedly been a basic agreement, but no final approval on the 1985 education bill to finance public schools. And the story is the same for Minnesota's 1985 tax bill. But the big stumbling block for lawmakers remains the 1985 bill that would fund state agencies. And there are still several thorny problems in that bill. Specifically, how to fund the 911 emergency telephone system, the state's park system, the state's housing finance assistance agencies, and how to find money for workers' compensation. Kirsten, it goes without saying that these bills are necessary to keep state government running. The question is, when will they be passed? And the answer right now seems to be not quite yet.
All right, Jeanette Harrison reporting live from the
Jeanette.
Capitol. The whole USA now knows how great St. Paul is. The capital city is a finalist in the top 8 of the most livable cities in America. Contest judges were impressed with the new $45 million Ordway Theater, the redevelopment of Lower Town, and much more. Some of the other finalists were Albuquerque, Baton Rouge, and Pittsburgh. And with us now live from our St. Paul bureau is Vic Tedesco. He was born and raised in St. Paul and has been on the city council there for about 400 years. Actually, I think that's 19 years, isn't it, Vic?
You're right, Paul.
Anyway, how do you feel now about the rest of the country knowing what you've known all along, that St. Paul is indeed a very livable city?
Well, I'm pleased to no end, and it's such a beautiful city, and I've had the opportunity to compare other cities throughout the nation by the nature of my work as a city official, and it's a great place to be. It's a great place to live. I love St. Paul.
Mr. Tedesco, can you give us some specific reasons why is St. Paul such a great place to live?
Well, we have very clean neighborhoods. Sure, like some cities, we have a few spots that are not the best, but we've got parks, beautiful buildings. We've got our cathedral, the state capitol, and as you mentioned, the Ordway, the Science Museum. The quality of life here, plus the natural beauty, brings us, makes us one of the finalists, and we should be. I think it's a combination of man-made and God-made things.
Vic, before we wrap it up here, back in the early 70s when everybody was discovering the state of Oregon, Governor Tom McCall said, come visit, but don't move here. Are we going to have any of that from you folks in St. Paul?
Oh, I think we got room for a few more thousands. We once were over 300,000 people. Now we're down about 265. So perhaps we can get at least 35,000 back.
Maybe this will put you back over the top. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you, and Kirsten.
You bet.
Thank you. There was some excitement out in Shakopee today also. Horses at the new Canterbury Downs racetrack got to test the track out. Christy Arndt was at the track this morning as the horses rolled out of the hay.
The sun peeked over the horizon as the excitement peaked at the Downs. Canterbury Plantation was nervous about being the first horse to try out the new track, but before you knew it, horse and rider were off without a hitch. And soon horse after horse took a quick jog around the track, some of them more nervous about their new home than others.
Loose horse, look out, look out, look out.
Overall, it was a successful practice session, and thoughts now have turned toward the thrill of opening day.
We have a couple horses that are going to run opening day. Maybe even in the first race, so I'm optimistic. Hopefully I'll win the first race in Minnesota.
And with today's excitement over, now maybe the horses can buckle down, getting ready to trot toward that big day. Christy Arndt, News 11, Canterbury Downs.
Opening day at Canterbury Downs is June 26th.
And if you have a horse race planned for tonight, you might want to take an umbrella with you.
That's because Paul Douglas says it's going to get wet, and he's out in the backyard right now to tell us how wet. Paul?
Hello. Well, Kirsten, welcome. Capital Y-U-K, yuck in the backyard. Welcome, everybody, to a blah, humbug, spritzy day in the backyard. It's wet out here. We want to check Doppler 11 and show you there is nothing severe within 60 miles of the cities, but there are some light showers now showing up to our west. The rain will be with us through much of tomorrow. It's cool, too. We want to check some regional temperatures as of about 4 this afternoon, and you can see temperatures a good 10 to 15 degrees cooler than normal across the upper Midwest. Readings in the 50s, 60s, and 70s instead of in the 80s. And this is what tomorrow's map is going to look like across the region. A good chance of rain from the Dakotas across much of Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin. Some of it could be heavy. Temperatures very, very cool. It looks like the sun will finally come out later on this week. So you think you're weather-wise? Well, we want you to take this quick 11 weather trivia quiz. What is the wettest month of the year? Actually, it's a very appropriate question. There are your choices, April, June, or January. Let's see how weather-wise you are. We'll have the answer in just a few minutes, along with the rest of the 11 outlook. It's wet. We'll have all the details coming up, Paul and Kirsten.
And we guess we should point out today's prize is a toaster oven for the
Well, there you go.
Isn't it?
It sure is.
An umbrella.
Thanks, Paul.
So long.
The payoff for the hit song We Are the World is on the way to drought-stricken Africa this hour. 240,000 pounds of food and medicine and other supplies were loaded onto a cargo plane in Los Angeles this morning. 45 stars made the music that so far has raised $45 million.
If you think this bank offers you a no-fee Visa or MasterCard with checking like First Federal does, think again. This place, they don't even offer free checks like First Federal. And at a local bank, you probably won't get all the extra checking services First Federal offers. In fact, if you think you can find a checking account that gives you more for your money than our money market checking, don't bank on it. First Federal. Check with us and get your money's worth.
Clark's Submarine is switching to RC Cola. So stop in at Clark's and enter the big drawing. You can win a 10-speed bike just like this. Who is that guy? Or enter your name to win a gasoline-powered mini racer. 2 will be given away. Who is that guy? Cola-loving people can now enjoy their favorite Clark's Submarine sandwich with the real taste of cola, RC Cola. Who are those guys?
Gold has just been found in the Twin Cities. Country Gold, 11:30 a.m. WDGY. WDGY plays the best country music of yesterday and today, like Alabama, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, plus great personalities, a full-time meteorologist, and news when you need it. So discover gold today. Country Gold, 11:30 a.m. WDGY.
Sears leads the way in Mercedes leasing plans with selection, immediate delivery, price, and service. Right now, you can lease a new Mercedes 300D for only $399.74 a month. Sears is the largest Mercedes dealer in the Midwest, and we have a wide selection of 300Ds in stock right now for this special leasing program. Bring in your present car and let Sears do the rest. Now is the time to move up to a new Mercedes. Sears Imported Autos, Highways 494 and 12, Minneapolis.
We're introducing a new feature to News 11 at 5. It's called News 11 Wants to Know.
Each night we'll raise some serious questions with our reports and try to get some answers for you.
This afternoon, News 11 wants to know what the Buffalo School District plans to do about school bus safety. question came to us by surprise when Dale Shornack took a ride on a freight train to see what it's like when it reaches a road crossing.
You're looking down the tracks from a train that's moving 20 miles an hour. The diesel engines are pulling 100 cars through a light rain. Leroy Van Gilder is the engineer. He's driven the big locomotives for more than 30 years. You're about to see the danger that engineers like Leroy run into every day. A driver in a hurry tries to beat the train to a railroad crossing.
There's one going. Damn!
The crossing gate was down. The car actually swerved around it. The driver cleared the intersection only 10 seconds ahead of the train. If the car had stalled, there would have been little time for the people inside to escape.
They're asking for it. I mean, it's committing suicide. We can't stop.
5,000 tons of rolling steel cannot stop on a dime. Depending on the size and the speed of the train, it can take up to 1.5 miles to come to a stop. That's why engineers blow the horn as they approach every crossing. Lights flash and gates drop, but still drivers run the risk of disaster at every busy intersection.
There's one. Now you'll get another one right here.
Those drivers just broke the law. Cars must stop when red crossing lights are flashing. It may seem like a minor violation, but it's the biggest reason why about 30 Minnesotans die every year in car train accidents.
None real serious, but I've hit cars. I think every engineer has.
40 miles out of the Twin Cities, we got the big scare of the day. Watch what happens at this intersection in Buffalo, Minnesota. A bus pulls up, 2 kids are waiting. The kids brake in front of the train, and then the bus driver guns his vehicle and crosses the tracks just a few yards in front of the train. You can see there were kids on the bus. We showed the videotape to John Seifert, a Buffalo school official. He agreed the bus should have stopped and waited for the train.
We want them to be as cautious as possible. And I'd say in a particular case like this that we'd want the driver to be a little bit more cautious.
This was a typical day on the train. Hundreds of drivers take these kinds of chances regularly. They do have time to cross, but a stall on the tracks would mean a certain crash. The train can't stop. Bus drivers in Buffalo will get a warning because of our story. Drivers at the wheel of automobiles get no more warning than the regular sound of a train whistle. Dale Shornack, News 11.
We'll check in with the Buffalo School District later this week to make sure bus drivers have been alerted to the danger of crossing in front of a train.
Coming up, some burglary victims get a chance to reclaim their property. Joan Steffen will have that story from the update desk in the newsroom.
And in sports, the queen of tennis, Martina Navratilova, puts on a little makeup to try her hand at something else. Jeff Passold will have that when we come right back. There's Martina. Look at that.
At Dairy Queen, we're tipping our hats to all you baseball fans with an 89-cent sundae in a helmet sale. The Cubs, Twins, Indians, your favorite teams, your favorite sundae. Only 89 cents during our sundae in a helmet sale. Collect all 26 and you're batting 1,000 at your Dairy Queen store.
Balancing your checkbook?
Right.
Getting more complicated and expensive, right?
Right, with maximum and minimum balances per check charges, ATM charges, monthly charges, plus special 25-cent credit for every $38 less transfer charges charged.
You know, TCF's pass card checking with its hundreds of cash machines is simple and free with a low minimum. Pass card checking is smart banking.
TCF is smart banking.
For all the times of your life.
Hey, there's an easier way of cutting weeds than that, son, with my new Toro gas trimmer. The Toro-built engine starts just like this. It has plenty of power for even the toughest jobs. And easy, why, you can feed new line automatically. There. Thanks. And another thing, son, slow down that backswing.
Available at these and other participating Toro dealers.
Some success to report tonight from the Twins. Attendance at Minnesota games is way up. The team says that more than 664,000 fans have attended Twins games so far this season. Last year at this time, only 506,000 seats had been filled. That's a difference of more than 150,000 tickets.
Last year as well, we had Harvey McCabe buying up all the tickets.
Yes.
This is just straight attendance with, and just think if the Twins could put another winning streak together.
If they start winning a few more games, it could really go up. Let's talk tennis.
All right.
All right, over the weekend, a rarity happened in tennis at the French Open because for nearly 3 years, Martina Navratilova has dominated her matches with Chris Everett Lloyd. But Saturday, it was Lloyd who dominated Martina, winning in 3 sets. The score is 6-3, 6-7, 7-5. A lot of people were shocked to see Chrissy beat Martina, but now Martina has an even bigger surprise. She's on the verge of becoming a high-fashion model.
You know, Linda Evans might not look so wonderful in an outfit like that, always running around in 100-degree temperatures. So it's great that you get a chance to get dressed up like that and surprise some people. The kick is in getting dressed up and looking wonderful, and people saying, "Is that really you?"
I'm going to give those people a call, see what they can do for me. Yeah. Tonight at 6, Tom Ryder's going to talk about the Twins and a big golf tournament going on.
The music sort of makes you feel pretty, doesn't it?
You want to go out for a walk or something?
Thanks, Jeff. Father's Day is coming up Sunday after next. This year, an estimated 85 million cards will be bought for dear old Dad. And a major greeting card manufacturer says 97% of those will be purchased by women. It seems this year's cards are a bit more sentimental than in years past.
Tonight from the Update Desk, more on a trial for an alleged tax protester.
Joan Steffen is in the newsroom. She's in for Andrea Shane, who is off tonight. Joan,
Thanks,
I almost
Paul.
said Andrea.
Good evening, everybody. Topping updates, jury selection began today for alleged tax protester Paul Porter. He's on trial for possessing and manufacturing illegal firearms. If you remember, Porter was a witness in the trial for 3 Bemidji tax protesters this year. Porter is pleading not guilty. And victims of a Metro-wide burglary ring began claiming their property today. 2 weeks ago, White Bear Lake police arrested 17 suspects in a fencing operation. 4 more suspects await charges. And today, some victims of that burglary ring didn't find all that's missing. Mary Stuckey reports.
We hadn't had in the house one because of my dad's death that were...
Elroy Wright came to the White Bear Lake Police with a long list of property that was stolen from his home in February. A list that includes 10 guns and many other valuables.
Oh, VCR and silverware and jewelry, watches, class rings, and necklaces.
But all that Wright identified today were 2 guns. 8 others are still missing. Gary Morkey had his picture taken for records after he identified a portable stereo stolen from his Roseville home. He took the boombox home with him that was not covered by an insurance claim. Property traced to owners, mostly electronic equipment, was set out for the first time today. Owners are being called in to identify it, and more property goes on display for burglary victims next week. Mary Stuckey, News 11, White Bear Lake.
And that's it from the Update Desk. We'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Now we'd like you to meet one of the folks who make 11 Country a great place. Meet Bob Leszewska from Mankato. Bob is a lifesaver. For the last 20 years, Bob has put in numerous hours for the Red Cross, training people in life-saving techniques. Bob also volunteers his time for the Boy Scouts and Heart Association. Bob Leszewska, making 11 Country great and safe.
And News 11 will continue with a visit to one of the most beautiful wilderness areas in the whole world.
And it's right in our own backyard. That and an answer to Paul Douglas's weather question when we come back.
Now Showing presents
Project Main Strike, for which each of you will pay me $100 million. $100 million?
I want no part of it, thank you.
The rest of our discussion must, of course, be confidential. Would you wait outside? This Does anybody else want to drop out?
When the bottom drops out and Grace Jones wants to shove the world around, ain't it great 007's on her case? Next.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Speaking of bottoms,
Probably feel 100% Moon River.
Fletch usually has his in a sling. He's a reporter who always lands on his feet, or lands afoot.
Better tie your shoelaces.
Oh! Thanks a lot! Now.
I have an idea for a story that would actually take place better in California.
What would you be going after?
Health clubs.
Oh, God.
No. Why not do a story about how they're turning into the St. Louis bars of the 80s?
John Travolta is also a reporter, calloused on top of the world, but when he falls for one of his subjects, the bottom drops out.
Hey, everything I wrote in that story is true.
Everything the other reporter wrote about me was true, too, but it still hurts.
Here, Rambo is betrayed and captured in today's Vietnam. His double-crosser thinks he has him trapped in the bottom of hell. Does he?
Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
And finally, the government has created the ultimate humanoid.
It's just a little boy, flesh and blood.
You're now saying it can feel human emotion.
Yes. He experiences pleasure and pain.
He's the perfect machine, but when he wants to live like a human, the bottom drops out.
You're going to shoot it down. 10, 9, 6, 5.
Sponsored by Now Showing. Enjoy the movies.
It's time now to check back in with Paul Douglas.
He's in the moist backyard right now with the weather outlook for
That's
it.
right. Paul, Kirsten, a little damp around the edges, a runny, leaky sky in the backyard, and we want to check Doppler 11, show you where it's raining right now. Nothing severe showing up anywhere close to home. There are some light showers across much of western Minnesota, and there could be some rain anywhere at any time right through tomorrow evening. We want to give you a bigger view of what's happening on Earthwatch 11. This is a composite of about 80 radars around the nation. Severe thunderstorms over much of the deep south, and there's that blob of rain right now just to our west. From outer space, this is what it looks like. A storm will be sliding off just to our south, and as we zoom in, you can see for yourself that it is going to be very wet here for at least the next 24 to 36 hours as all this moisture slides off to our south. Upwards of an inch of rain could fall before skies clear out late Wednesday. Here is the 11 outlook then for tonight. It looks wet, off and on showers, maybe even some thunder in your backyard. A low by morning 51 to 56. And then tomorrow, cloudy, cool, off and on rain, 59 to 64. Take an umbrella. Your 11 outlook for the next few days, clouds giving way to some clearing late Wednesday, 61, 68 Thursday, and Friday up to 74. Definite improvement late in the week. Let's see how good you did. The 11 weather trivia quiz, which we gave you about 15 minutes ago, we gave you 3 possible answers. We gave you April, we gave you June, and we gave you January. For those of you that guessed June, well, you are positively, absolutely correct. June, the wettest month of the year. Typically, we see more than 4 inches of rain here in the Twin Cities. Congratulations. And Kirsten, I think it's awfully nice of Paul to donate that toaster oven to the winner. What do you think?
I'm still going to get an umbrella out of him.
Sooner or later,
Thank
you'll
you,
need one
Paul.
tonight. All right.
Thank you. There are a lot of beautiful places to see and great things to do here in 11 country. I know because I've been out traveling around the area for the last few weeks. This afternoon we begin a series of reports on some of the most popular tourist spots in 11 country. It's a place that brings people to Minnesota from all over the world. It's called the crown jewel of Minnesota's canoe country. A dazzling area, 1 million acres, sparkling with thousands of lakes, linking the state with the Canadian province of Ontario. It's a royal wilderness, most commonly known as the Boundary Waters. Here at Tom and Wood's Moose Lake Outfitters, one of many in the BWCA, you can get everything you need, from a canoe to camping gear and food. All you bring is clothing and a spirit of adventure.
We're just going, taking things as they come.
Once they're out there, they can't come back.
You know, once you get out far enough, there's really nobody you run into. It's kind of nice.
These vacation voyagers are getting a head start on their trip. They've hired a motorboat to take them to the Canadian border. But the ride stops here. Laws prohibit motorized travel any further. Civilization ends here, too, and then it's just you, your paddle, and canoe. One of the greatest joys on a trip like this is finding the perfect spot to set up camp. Some people who escape to the boundary waters are happy to stay put in that special spot until the vacation's over. For others, though, there's an unbeatable urge to paddle on into the glistening maze, to spend days getting further and further away.
Oh. We're out of time. We'll see you at 6.
Good night.
Hey, Bruno, at J. Klein Chevrolet, their prices are so low they're afraid to show their face. But are they afraid to show their cars, too?
No way. This is a car they're going to be proud to show, the new Chevy Nova.
Is that the new joint venture between GM and Toyota?
That's right. The best of both worlds with front-wheel drive, power steering, overdrive, all standard.
Hey, let's take a look.
Surprise!
We got your wheels, we got your deal at J. Klein Chevrolet.
Here comes another Embers Better Than Coupon 24-hour meal deal. Brace yourself, because you can have breakfast 24 hours a day for just $1.99. And they mean a big jumbo breakfast. 2 eggs, 2 pancakes, 2 slices of bacon, and 2 sausages. The 24-hour jumbo breakfast, 7 days a week, just $1.99 at Embers Family Restaurants. Available at all Embers locations, where your satisfaction is guaranteed. Oh, and you don't even need a coupon.
Break the ties of tradition. This Father's Day, take the hint. Get Dad something he really wants from Mills Fleet Farm. Like a Chamberlain 1/2 horsepower garage door opener, only $159.99. Or choose from our wide selection of fine Casio watches, now 15% off our low prices. The handyman father will really appreciate this easy tote tool organizer, only $649. For the perfect Father's Day gift, shop where Dad does.
Ah, honey, it's just what I wanted.
At Mills Fleet Farm.
Tuesday on Sunrise, the hot weather we've had gives way to a cooler forecast. And we'll have the first in news and the last in sports. That's Tuesday morning on Sunrise.